All right, I'm Ben Dover alongside Mike Roch, and we're doing a podcast about the top fantasy players that we should in our fantasy draft. So, we'll take turns doing this. At the start of the list is Le'Veon Bell, and we all know what Le'Veon can do. He catches passes, he does it all, he's good at standards in whatever league you want. There's always the risk with him getting in trouble or him getting hurt.
Yeah.
Which is why you might want to waste a last round pick on James Conner, or just hope to pick him up in waivers.
Which is likely.
Yeah, because he's ranked something like 200 something, because nobody knows about him. In fact, I had to look him up on the Pittsburgh depth chart.
Yeah. After that, it's David Johnson, I mean, he catches a lot of passes. He's great for any league, just like Le'Veon. And he's fast.
Right. After is Antonio Brown. Antonio, in my opinion, if you're doing a standard league, I think Julio would be a better option there, because Julio gets more touchdowns.
Yeah.
And Le'Veon is taking all the touchdowns from Antonio Brown there. But you can always rely on Antonio Brown to catch a lot of passes, and he's always going to be getting those deep passes no matter what. But he's not a fantastic red zone target.
Yeah.
But he still gets touchdowns, and he's Antonio Brown. He's a beast.
Yeah, and he's a great dancer in the end zone. And then...
I think they lowered the rules on that,
but
which is
cool.
cool.
But you still can't twerk, unfortunately. Actually, I'm okay with that. And then there's Ezekiel Elliott, who I don't think is going to have nearly as good of a season as last year, but with that offensive line, it's still likely that he'll be a top 5 running back.
Right. I predict that he's going to be catching more passes in this coming season because, let's face it, I don't think Dak Prescott will be having a fantastic season either, but we'll talk about that later. And they can't rely on Dez and Jason Witten anymore, I don't think.
Yeah, Jason Witten's about 55 years old, so.
And
Dez is Dez. But then they've got Cole Beasley, who...
We'll save that for later.
He's okay. We went over Julio Jones, kind of. OBJ, I don't know. I don't really trust him. I feel like there's a good chance he gets injured from throwing a hissy fit in the locker room, most likely. I mean, he catches a good amount of passes. He's decent for PPR, but I don't know.
Well, now that they have Brandon Marshall, there's two things that are going to happen. Brandon Marshall steals a bunch of targets from him, or Brandon Marshall opens things up for Odell, because you can't double cover Odell all season, knowing that on the other side of the field there's Brandon Marshall.
Yeah,
he's a great receiver. He's just never really had a good quarterback to throw to him.
Yep, and now he has Eli Manning, so he's keeping with that trend.
Somehow that's the best of all the quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's not good. And then there's Mike Evans, who I think is going to be, at the end of the season, the number 1 receiver. I think he's just going to have an outstanding year, along with Jameis Winston.
AJ Green. I grew up being a Cincinnati fan. Yes, I was dropped as a child. I have been cured from that autism. Oh shit. That might come back and bite. That can come back and bite me in the ass. But
I can edit that.
All right, good.
Just kidding.
Anyway, AJ, he's always injury prone. Like I had him in a fantasy season, and he missed 3 weeks.
Yeah.
From turf toe.
Yeah.
Which I guess as a wide receiver, that's actually a bigger deal. I don't even think he's going to be doing as good, frankly.
His legs are about 20 feet long and really, really skinny, so they snap.
Kind of like Ben Roethlisberger, but those legs don't have to carry a soda can sized body.
Yeah. All right. Then Jordy Nelson. I feel like he's Jordy Nelson, so he's gonna have a lot of touchdowns and whatnot.
Jordy Nelson is Jordy Nelson. I'm glad that hasn't changed.
Jordan Nelson. But also I feel like there's a chance that a lot of his targets go elsewhere, and I don't know.
Then there's LaShawn McCoy, and I just noticed that I think it was yesterday LaShawn McCoy was number 9 and Jordy Nelson was number 10, but I guess they changed that.
Yeah.
Which I don't really care.
I feel like he's gonna have a really nice season.
I don't agree with that. I guess they don't have anyone else to really use, especially with Mike Gillislee gone. But and he catches passes, but he's always gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
No matter what, there's a solid chance he's gonna get hurt.
That's true.
But I don't know.
I mean, and I feel like he could catch some passes too.
I just said that, but
Oh, I wasn't listening. My bad.
is this a limit?
And then T.Y. Hilton, who I don't believe in whatsoever. I never do, and he always does better than I think. But I just don't like him.
I mean, he led he was one of the top people for reception yards. I think. I don't know if he was third or second, but it might. Yeah, I think it was reception yards.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like I can't remember if they did anything to that horrid offensive line.
I don't think. I think they drafted someone, but not early enough.
Well, you could take someone in the 9th round, and you'd probably be the best person on that line.
Yeah.
Anyway, Andrew Luck hasn't been doing good. Not because he's a bad quarterback. That line is just letting him get hammered.
Yeah. I mean, they should put Frank Gore on the line. They'd do better.
Yeah. Just look at, Cam Newton complaining about I'm not protecting the pocket anymore. Well, imagine how Andrew Luck feels.
Yeah. And then we got Freeman. I don't know, honestly.
The problem with I kind of wanted to talk about this guy. The problem with Freeman is Tevin Coleman is also there, and they use him too. And what's worse is that they use Tevin Coleman more in the red zone.
Yeah.
So if you have a standard league, that's not as good. But at least Devontae Freeman will catch those balls if you're in a PPR.
Yeah.
He's not my first choice, but whatever.
And there's Michael Thomas, who I have no faith in, and I don't understand why he's ranked so high. I have him down at 17 or 18 because I don't see it happening.
Yeah. And plus they got guys like Willie Snead and Ted Ginn Jr., and I think you should look out for both of those. But you could probably get Ted Ginn in the waiver wire.
And the backfield has more depth now with Peterson. So,
yeah.
I just don't see it.
I think they got another running back, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Melvin Gordon. He is my number one guy to draft, and you can get him in the 2nd round. And I think he's going to be phenomenal. I think he's going to probably lead the league in rushing yards.
Really?
Yeah. And maybe not touchdowns, but I think he's going to get a hell of a lot of those too.
There is an injury risk, though.
Yes, but they lost Danny Woodhead.
Yeah.
To the and Keenan Allen's probably going to get hurt. And let's face it, he's done for.
And I have a feeling Phillip Rivers might get hurt, which would be great for Gordon.
Yeah, especially owners of Gordon.
Yeah. Jordan Howard. He has no competition really, and no quarterback, so I feel like he's gonna get the ball a lot. Great for standard and hopefully good for PPR.
He still has more of a quarterback now that what's his face retired.
Cutler.
Yeah, Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
I was thinking Matt something for some reason.
Dez Bryant. I live against Dez Bryant until now. I had a change of faith recently. For some reason, I just feel like he's going to have a monster season. And he kind of falls right into my lap in the draft spot. So I like Dez Bryant this year.
I don't, but most of it is because I've had him in the past and he's disappointed me. Extremely disappointed me. And I think they're going to, like I said, I think they're going to involve Ezekiel Elliott more. Even more than they already do. With the pass game. I don't think Dak Prescott will do as good. I think he's going to have a huge sophomore slump, similar to Elliott. And I think they're going to be using guys like Terrence Williams and Cole Beasley more.
Yeah. Then
DeMarco Murray. I drafted him last year, I think, late in the 9th round. And, obviously he did amazing. I don't think he'll have the same year, and I think I think towards the end of the season they already started using Derrick Henry more. And I think he's gonna get hurt. And for that guy, he always he has one good season, then he has 2 terrible ones.
All right, we'll be back right after this short break.